Warning, the following video has flashing lights and also includes content that may be deemed inappropriate for some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. Jake Travis from the Klickitat Project. Again, you have found your way into the darkness of the Fox Den for another episode of Midnight Lycanthropy on LordeStarfox Radio. This is going to be epic as always, yet please allow me to attend to something. Much better. Absolutely delicious. And now that you have set me free from my shackles, it is once again time for you and I to take a walk into the madness.
Stood up. I said, oh my god, it's a werewolf, and everybody in the car freaked out.
My creatures of the night, yes, you are once again tuning in to LordeStarfox Radio. We have the Klickitat Project. Jake Travis, a bi-weekly host, has decided to make his way through the darkness of the forest into the Fox Den to set up the late night fire so that we can burn the timber into the early hours of the morning. Jake, how you doing, my friend? Long time no talk, eh?
Yeah, I'm ups and downs, classic, but yeah, been keeping busy nonetheless. How about you?
There we go. Excellent. You know how it is, just trying to grind away. Need a little more than 1,000 views to hopefully get myself monetized. So just been editing, repeat, trying to find new hosts and great guests. Been working with a few people that live right on Bray Road in Wisconsin with the whole beast aspect that occurs. That's about it. What about you, man? Anything new your way?
Yeah, but really quick, I just wanted to. I remember you saying something about the YouTube not counting views of the people being signed in. I didn't dive too deep into it, but just the little few tidbits I did find said even if someone's not signed in, like they should still count towards the watch hours. So that's pretty awesome. Like especially in your case. So that one less thing to stress about.
Beautiful. That must be something recent that they changed. That's excellent.
Yeah, because it got me wondering too. I was like, man, that's one of those gotcha things, But yeah, what have I been up to? Probably not that too exciting for the listeners, but stuff that has to be done for the business, and that's like taxes, of course. And for me, because I own my own business, and I don't really have a straightforward way of filing them. It takes me up to a week, so I got it done in 3 days this time, and so I was pretty excited to get that over with. And yeah, I'm happy to get back to the video editing, and I haven't been able to get out to shoot any new videos recently, so I'm just kind of going through my old catalog, which definitely needs to be edited and put out as well. So that's also fun, revisiting like a trip I went on and just seeing like how I shot it and if I've made progress, now, which I think I have, but I also relearn things that I did back there that I want to incorporate in newer videos and even spots I've been to that I'm like, oh yeah, I should go back and check that out and see how it's going. So, yep, that's what I've been doing.
Excellent stuff right there. You got to stay busy, keep on putting out the grind for sure. You're going to chuckle. I actually was recently doing a video with one of my co-hosts about Jordan Grider and Bart Schleisler, who have gone missing. Not necessarily recently. Jordan more recently than Bart. They were both pretty successful outdoorsmen. Bart was on a whole nother level from Jordan. Either way, though, I was thinking about you when I was covering those cases, because Jordan, his tent was found with a hammock completely covered in blood. That was all that was ever found of him. So many crazy things and people out in the forest. I love nature, yet maybe I do have an overactive imagination, hashtag creativity aspects, yet that seems pretty frightening, just to be in a piece of cloth in the middle of the forest sleeping. Yet I guess even if you were in a house with windows, someone could still potentially get in, but it feels like there's a little bit more comfort there.
Yeah, and that's funny you say this, because at the moment, I am trying to build like my own. I have all the materials. I just got to do it. We've had like a flurry of cold weather and a little bit of laziness involved, but I have the materials to build a bed in the back of my vehicle, because it's not just a standard size bed. I have an SUV, and I purposely bought like a smaller SUV than normal size so I could get down the trails I need to go.
Sick.
And yeah, so it's I'm 5'11", and I don't fit, lengthwise in the back unless it's on the driver's side. Yeah, so it's like you have all these crazy measurements, and it's like how they do the van builds, but I'm doing like basically a minivan build. And the most important thing to figure out first is the sleep situation. And I'd prefer to have something that's, permanently set up, because I don't know how many times I drive for hours to the woods and I can't find, a camp spot, or I'm too tired to set everything up, and you end up getting some pretty crummy sleep because you don't have your sleep situation set up. Because that is definitely something I want to do, is get the permanent sleep set up in the vehicle. But I've also got like 8 different tents that I have to review. And so I'm kind of like tethered to this, the cloth, I guess you could say, is like I have to sleep in the tent. So I got to do a bit of both. But yeah, I love sleeping in the tents. But yes, it can be more dangerous for sure.
Yes, that is some pretty gnarly stuff that can occur. Obviously, I've seen dog soldiers one too many times. I've heard encounters from other people. Now talking to you and then some others, just mind-boggling. Have you ever seen Foresty Forest before we start diving into some really nightmare fuel stuff? He has a cool van set up and is from Canada. He's come down to the States before. He drives all around in his van and then hikes afterwards with his dog. You can check his stuff out on YouTube, but when you were just talking about what you were talking about, it made me think of him.
Yeah, I've definitely heard the name, and I'm sure if I saw a picture, I would, it'd jog my memory. But yeah, yep, I'll have to check that out.
Sure, I think you'll enjoy it, just to see more or less, like I was saying, about how he is basically trying to do what you're trying to do, which is pretty cool stuff.
Okay, yeah, I just looked it up. I have seen a couple videos of his. Yeah.
That's so funny. how all us YouTubers kind of link up in certain aspects like that. Well, before we start diving into what I would like to call a very messed up situation in your area, yes, in Washington, and this occurred during the Manhattan Project. Have you been diving into anything cryptid based yourself recently, or you pretty much just been grinding away on what you previously stated?
I did. I checked out Dog Soldiers. I had to do that, and yeah, that is a creepy movie. It's it's I like how it's done. Yes, it's and I don't know. I don't try to. I do watch a lot of horror films and stuff like that, but mainly I just love how they color it. Because I'm filming a lot of the time in the dark,
Mm-hmm.
and so it gives you good ideas how to make that look good, I guess. And in that particular movie, it's not easy to do, but when you shoot on film like that, it was very high contrast. And so, yeah, you didn't have much detail in the shadows, but so yeah, fortunately we have cameras with higher dynamic range, and then we got video editing software, and we can kind of like massage that the tones and the colors and make it look the best possible. But yeah, they did a great job, and I still try to do that in my stuff, is like limit the amount that I can do, and just say, all right, if I'm only working with this limited range of colors and contrast, what kind of look can I get? So yeah, that was something I took away from that, as well as what the events that took place. But yes, I don't try to freak myself out too much before I go do my own solo camping, because that's just not good.
No, you are correct, and excellent stuff right there. That movie is gnarly for sure, and a lot of people don't realize, like you said, it's actually really excellently done. In the part where the soldier impales himself on the tree, if you actually pause for a second and look at his eye, you can see the reflection of the claw coming down. Super gnarly right there, because you have to have some great lighting to be able to get that type of reflection. The only issue with that movie I have, only issue, is when that dude thinks he's trying to fight a werewolf with a frying pan and stuff. I understand why they put that up in there, but to me, that kind of mixed up the way you should have felt about what was occurring, more or less. Yet, besides that, totally awesome. And at the beginning, man, the tent when it unzips itself, that's why I was like, dude, no tents, you know?
Yeah, that is something like, if it were like, I could understand like something ripping through your tent, but if you see it like start to unzip, you're like, oh no, that's not good.
Right? Another part too, I don't know if people pick up on, because that just shows how smart they are. There's a scene where one of the soldiers shoots a shotgun out the window at the werewolf. The werewolf grabs the shotgun, shoots it back, and then throws it in the house, meaning they are fully capable of using weapons, they just choose not to.
Yeah, same way. I can use weapons. I just choose not to.
Yes, so gnarly. And that's going to jump into what I wanted to speak to you tonight about. You had, yes, out on the West Coast here during the Manhattan Project, two brilliant minds that were participating on a secret project. Dr. Lauren Donaldson was the first person I'm going to mention. He is renowned for making the Donaldson trout, which is pretty much a Terminator type fish. It can survive in warm water, cold water. It can breathe out of water for longer than it should be able to. It can live in fresh water, salt water. It's a hardy fish. He created this. He was then brought in to work on a program with another brilliant mind named Dr. Barr. He also was renowned for experimentations on animals, all kinds of other questionable type behaviors, yet they were both viewed as assets to come work on this program. What their destination was to make or try and make super predators or super soldiers. Keep in mind, when we were dealing with the SS and the Dirty Stash, a lot of people don't realize how advanced in technological aspects they really were, meaning we were having issues with our torpedoes because on their battleships and U-boats, etc., they would basically have like chicken wire that would send out electronic pulses, which would confuse and cause the missiles and torpedoes to explode in different areas. Also, the SS and the Dirty Stash had mercury balls that would float and would then be drawn towards metal, also electronic pulses from engines, which was a big reason why they would cut out our aircrafts, because they would release these and cut the engines out on the bombers. Creepy, gnarly stuff. Well, we were like, all right, we got to try to find a way around this. At this point in time, they had come and been able to train aquatic life, but specifically dolphins, to help plant mines on these destroyers to then, in theory, hopefully be able to blow them up. Well, they also here during the Manhattan Project were so worried about what was occurring, and also now keep in mind with what was happening with Russia coming into our waters, because obviously we couldn't allow Stalin at this point in time to come in and grab information from us. Well, we started to then train dolphins to prick people with an inflatable, meaning if they saw you and I in an area we weren't supposed to be, these dolphins would come in non-lethally, impale us with an inflatable that would pull us up to the surface. Guards and such would then take us because we were in an area we weren't supposed to be. Before I continue, what do you think about that so far, man?
Yeah, it sounds like an awesome sci-fi movie, but this is real.
Yes.
Right? Okay. All right, I'm following.
Creepy as heck. There's also a gentleman in your area. I'll try to figure out the store if I can. He takes reports just of people that come in. He's like a ski shop, outdoor shop. Covered a lot of this now. Fast forward, it's called a Klickitat, Ape Cat. Now we're going to rewind though back to what we're speaking about. Well, as Lauren Donaldson and Dr. Barr are working on these projects, there is a few documented videos of them acknowledging that they were trying to splice predators, work on super soldiers more or less, and that they had escaped a couple times. They don't really specify on how many had escaped, yet they do acknowledge that the quote-unquote majority of them were retrieved and brought back in. Okay, we don't know what they were working on. Could it have been like super crocodiles, etc.? No clue, right? We don't know if it's aquatic. We don't know. Could it fly? We have no idea. Or is it a land dweller? We just hear them acknowledging this. Again, saying the majority of them were retrieved. Well, soon after this, people start now, up into the present day time, report seeing this strange, what they call Klickitat ape cat. It looks like some sort of baboon ape cat-like creature that is very sleek, fast, and it's got like some sort of mane, and it's been seen all around this area in Washington State, roaming around, specifically in the location of where this facility was. People think that it was a guard, more or less, potentially. I mean, what else would be a great guard than that? Because, I mean, humans can only travel so far, see so much. Super creepy stuff. And before I continue, what do you think about that?
Yeah, definitely. It makes me think of like the first time I saw a vulture up close. I was driving to a spot I go in the mountains, and there was a dead deer. I didn't see the dead deer at first, but that's why the vultures were around, and they were sitting on like I come around a corner and there's a guardrail there, and these two giant vultures take off, and I've never seen something that big fly before. So yeah, I was just like, oh my god, is this really happening? Because I thought like the bald eagle was the biggest thing we got that flies around here. So yeah, it just made me think. Yeah, when you said you don't know if it's something that flies, like, can you just imagine seeing something like a pterodactyl in the air? Oh man, that'd freak me out.
I could only imagine. And here's something to freak you out with things that can be verified. The harpy eagle is more or less the largest acknowledged predatory bird. They have recently been able to infiltrate some of their nests. They definitely enjoy feeding on monkeys, yet there was also some ancient ancestors of humans in some of these old nests where the bones just accumulate for centuries and hundreds of thousands of years because they stay in the same area, and you can see where bones have dropped down.
Yeah, I mean, if they can pick up goats and stuff and throw them off cliffs, yeah, it
Right?
makes sense.
That's what people don't realize. We're not talking about necessarily an adult such as yourself or I, or a big bodybuilder. They could definitely get a smaller child for sure, pull that same aspect, yet they were able to bring some of these back to their nest and stuff. It's just so creepy because birds are very adept to be predators. Seemingly in the case that we're speaking about, where did this Klickitat ape cat come from? I don't really believe in coincidences or things that are ironic. I mean, come on now. They're admitting that they did these things. Lauren Donaldson's created a awesome trout, I guess, but it's not normal. And then all of a sudden, after these acknowledgments, people see these strange ape cats all around. It just seems pretty bizarre to me.
Yeah, and I was just thinking when you're backpacking, that's actually like a great defense to make you look bigger, is having this big backpack on.
Mm-hmm.
And but then I was also thinking that one time that I was hiking in the dark with a big backpack on, I had the headlamp, and for whatever reason, I just got the instinct to turn around and look behind me, and when I did, an owl was coming at me with its claws, and because I turned, the light blinded him, and he flew right up to a branch. But I was just like, I guess the backpack didn't deter the owl. He saw that lamp and he really wanted it. And that would have hurt. That would have really hurt if I got clawed in the head. So I lucked out there.
Might hurt a little bit. That reminds me of the old school show with the dinosaurs puppets. It was actually called Dinosaur, and the little one was like, "Not the mama," and he was smashing the dad on the head right there. Like you were saying, that's pretty much probably what that would have felt like, except way worse.
Yep, and it also, I'm thinking of another story when you're mentioning the Klickitat ape cat. Is I don't know if I've told you this story yet. Maybe you can refresh my memory before I get too deep into it. But it was I was at the top of, there was a lake basically at the top of where this campground was. You go up through the mountains, and then there's this lake, and then there's a trail down to the bottom, and it's about a 2-mile switchback, and it drops 2,000 feet. So in 2 miles, you go 2,000 feet, and a friend and I decided to do it, and we were like, yeah, we got 2 or 3 hours of daylight, whatever it was. I was like, as long as we if it's all downhill, we just jog downhill. We'll get down there real quick, and then we can still get back up before it gets dark, right? Have you heard this story yet?
I don't believe I have.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna keep rolling with it then. Is basically we ran down, and it just everything. It's hard on your knees first off with that like descent, that the elevation change. But yeah, it seemed like it took longer than we expected to get down to the bottom. And by the time we got down to the bottom, it was already pretty much dark. Because, even though it gets dark at said time, when you're in the woods, like all the trees and everything block out your light. So it's really getting dark much sooner. We get down to the bottom, and there was like all these different hikers, like set up with tents and lamps, and there was no fires. That was the other thing. There's no fires, no guns, and no animals. There's a sign that says that at the top. And so we get down to the bottom, and I had to work the next day, and there was no service, so I couldn't leave a message saying I'm not going to make it back in time or anything. So we kind of knew we had to get back up to the top, and it was all going to be hiking in the dark. And we ran into this one hiker that was camped out, and we told him like, hey, what are you guys doing here? Blah, blah, blah. And he said it's part of a trail system that goes around Mount Rainier. So that's where we ended up getting to. Why there was so many people there, they just go around this huge, like, I think it's called Paradise Loop or something like that. But basically said, oh, well, that's cool. We're going to head back up. And he was like, are you guys serious? And we're like, well, yeah. And he goes, I hope I don't hear about you in the news. I was like, thanks for saying that, but basically we had to go back up. So we started hiking back up the 2 miles, and we got about 3/4 of the way, or 3/4 of a mile in. So we're kind of too far to go back down and too far to go back up. We're kind of right in the middle when all of a sudden we hear this giant just thud. It sounds like something 600 pounds or more. Like, just imagine a giant stump falling and smashing into the earth and just shaking all the ground around you. That's what happened, with no like warning signs of any cracking or no noise ahead of time, just thud. And it sounded like it was about 15 to 20 feet away. I remember my friend, I was like, oh my God, did you hear that? And he goes, just keep walking. Don't shine your light at it. That's because we're like defenseless. We're in the middle. We can't go back. You can't. Yeah, it's just like, just pretend you didn't hear it. And that was the solution. And man, did I really wanted to turn and see what it was. But I've heard, if you do that, it's you're basically like calling it out and saying like you're ready to fight or whatever. And things don't like being bright light shine in the eyes. So it might deter them, but yeah, I've heard Bigfoot don't like that. Anyways, no idea what it was, but it made me think that maybe in this case, because this did happen in Washington, it could have been one of these Klickitat ape cats you're talking about. But yeah, that was the only thing. Didn't see anything, didn't hear any footsteps following us up the rest of the way, and we just kept going up the switchback, and we made it out safe. But yeah, we're just no idea what it could have been. I kind of thought at the time it could have been like something big, like a giant cougar jumping down off of a branch, because they're pretty stealthy, and it just landed on the ground. But yeah, I would estimate 600 pounds or more, just the way of that force and how it felt when it thudded. What do you think about that?
Dang, pretty gnarly stuff. That's for sure. And that's what I mean about being out in the forest and making sure I got something that can whap back, the things that go bump in the night. Well, I can bump back too, right? because you never really know with what you're going up against. I mean, just listen to what you just spoke about. That's pretty cool to hear about it, but it's terrifying. And also, I don't know if I would want to have been directly aligned to participate in that. It's good to hear it secondhand, more or less, because you never really know. I mean, even dealing with a giant bear at night would be terrifying. And just like everything we've spoke about, imagination is something that's real, but yet there are things out there that will cause harm to us. And thinking about this Klickitat ape cat, have you ever heard of that before I mentioned it to you? And do you know where Klickitat County is?
I have heard of Klickitat County. Yes, I've probably been there too. Have to look at a map to verify, but yeah, the like you said, like when you're with somebody else, like all of a sudden I'm more confident and curious as to what it could be and would like to explore more. And like, I don't know why I didn't just ignore my friend's request not to shine my light at it, because I should have just been like, what is it? Is it a bear? Is it a cougar? Is it a Bigfoot? Is it the Klickitat ape cat? What, now? So now I'm just left with like the curiosity of, why was the guy down below saying, I hope I don't hear about you on the news? I mean, we were using the buddy system. We were hiking up a known trail in the dark. We had headlamps. So why was he saying, I hope I don't hear about you on the news? Did he know something was up because he was hiking that whole Paradise Loop? I don't know. But yeah, I got a lot of questions that didn't get answered there.
I could see how you'd feel that way for sure. And the more I think about it with the description of the Klickitat ape cat, it really falls into the category also of the same kind of description as the devil monkeys, also the baboon like Dogman, the Gugway. Pretty creepy stuff too, because there aren't really many mentions of the devil monkeys, I believe, until more of a modern day time frame. Not necessarily modern day meaning like yesterday, but I believe what we're speaking about with Lauren Donaldson, the Manhattan Project. I don't know if I can find myself any documented devil monkey cases that would be prior to that. Something to think about, because the way it's described, Klickitat ape cat. All right, it's an ape-looking baboon-like cat, sleek fur, move fast, right, almost graceful as they are moving, whereas canines tend to bounce a little bit more. Cats are stealthy and sleek. All right, and it's got a mane, ape baboon, okay, which would mean it's got some sort of baboon-like snout, and ears, and then hands. All right, what the heck? Seemingly now with the devil monkeys, they're up in trees. Not like I'm saying all the way up, but usually the first couple branch sets to get above people, no different than a mountain lion or some of these feral people, Sasquatch, etc. They all tend to have these tendencies, even in Dogman reports. Same thing with the Gugways. Baboon like Dogman, as stated, it all falls into this Klickitat like ape cat. There's also now, as we start to come to an end-ish here, if you look down in Watts Valley, which is in California now, still West Coast, really not that far of a travel distance, you have an instance where a classroom, it was a small school, like a one classroom school, the teacher was teaching. All of a sudden, this baboon-like creature, same type of description seemingly as this Klickitat ape cat, comes into this classroom and starts attacking people and trying to steal their backpacks and food. Obviously, it's hungry. Well, the teacher locks themselves in a closet, tells the kids they need to get up on all the desks. Kids are up on the desks. Yes, and then this baboon-like ape creature rummages through the whole entire classroom looking for food. Once it gets its fill and takes the rest of what it wants, it then runs off into the forest. Fast forward now, people still report seeing this strange baboon-like ape cat in that area as well. Bizarre stuff, man.
Yeah, no, I just looked at some pictures too, and it kind of what is described in the images to me looks kind of like a like a puma mixed with like a baboon, like you said, and yeah, that's
Bizarre.
interesting because usually they would wait until it wasn't like you weren't dealing with all these people, right? You'd think they'd wait until they left to go scavenge around, but it's like, no, I'm fearless.
That's what I'm saying.
That was really hungry.
Both, maybe. Even though you have a classroom full of younger children, like you said, you would think it wouldn't have been so boisterous. And then you have an adult there as well. Makes you really wonder now, even if people are in a larger group, say like a scout group where you maybe have a leader and then some younger scouts behind you, if something like that wouldn't be aggressive enough just to come and snag somebody. Doesn't seem like there was much stealth there in that instance, right? Just busted right into the
class. And probably some learned behavior as well. So it's like, oh yeah, last time I did this, the teacher locked themselves in the closet and the kids all screamed and hid. So yeah, this is easy. I just get what I want. Nobody puts up a fight.
Nightmare fuel stuff right there. And I do encourage people, like our science team says, as much as you want to become scared, you really can't become scared in situations like that, meaning male, female, adult, subadult, doesn't matter. Can't be screaming like a child because people seem to think that's going to deter something. I really hate to break it to everybody. It's not. Do we not think a deer is screaming for its life as loud as it can as the grizzly bear is ripping it apart? I'm pretty sure it is. I think
you have to do that before it gets a hold of you, and if that doesn't work, then you do something else.
Right? Because as you're screaming, you're now, if anything, probably putting the animal into a frenzy now because it realizes, isn't this what happens now as it's feeding time? As stated, whether you're afraid or not, you need to not put off those pheromones as much as possible, sensing fear, okay? Because animals pick up on all of that. Demeanors change, our sense change. Yes, no one wants to be dealing with a predator, yet realize that predator doesn't want to be dealing with another predator either. Do not act like prey. Act like, all right, this probably isn't going to be a good confrontation for either one of us. Let's just disperse. Same thing with when grizzly bears are confronted by wolves and things, or tigers and bears. Yes, confrontations do happen. For the most part, predators usually don't tend to take on other predators. It just doesn't really make sense to them because they know there's a chance of injury. They want to take on something that is prey. Being hysterical is acting like prey.
Yeah, it's also one thing to practice it. I mean, you should be practicing stuff like this ahead of time. But when you're actually in the situation, it's like all bets are off. And then you're just, whatever you do is what you do. And I remember when I was hiking with a friend, we brought bear spray and everything. And we both knew we clipped it to the side of the backpack so it'd be easy to access. And then when we turned a corner, he was in front of me, and he just yells, "Run!" And he turned around and started running. And I look back and I go, "What are we running from?" But of course, I started running too, and yeah, it's not what you should do at all when you come in contact with the bear. But luckily, it didn't chase us. And after, after we calmed down, I said, "What the heck happened back there?" And he goes, "Didn't you see it?" And I said, "See what?" And he goes, "There was a bear." Oh, then why didn't you grab the bear spray, man?
Right? Or the horn or something. And stand your ground a little bit. That's all. I know, like you were saying too, obviously on the heat of the moment, things are not as easily adapted to. But on a funny note, and then back to the serious note, when I used to act all the time, I would just practice my lines in the mirror until it became natural. Okay. And then, yes, when you're out there, boom, it just comes out and you control that aspect of before when they used to be like all anxious and things. I've also seen some people that were put in really crazy situations with predators that they handled themselves the 100% way they should have. And I don't even like dealing in 100s. I don't know if it was you or somebody else, yet this example is great. There's this guy riding his mountain bike. He's got like a GoPro on. He doesn't see the mountain lion at first. Once he's breaking down the video with you, you can barely see it in the grass. It comes out. He gets off his bike. The cat is obviously interested in him. He's not panicking. He's raising his voice, being like, "Look, I don't think you want to do this." Being loud, starts to back up a little bit. The cat's coming towards him. He then puts down his bike, starts putting his hands out, standing up, looking bigger. He's like, "No, kitty, I don't think you want to do this." Cat approaches him a little bit, but then you can start to see the cat's a little confused now and wondering if it's really worth trying to attack this strange thing that's got four legs, is standing up, it's yelling at me. Guy continues to raise his voice, and the cat then just turns around and walks away casually because of the situation of how he handled himself. I mean, obviously, sure, it's not something that guy probably ever wanted to be put in that situation, but he didn't panic. He didn't give up his ground until it started coming towards him a little bit, and he backed up a little bit, but he was still holding his ground and showing that, hey, look, like I'm just as big as you, if not bigger, you know?
Yeah, he did everything right, and that's awesome. And then you also hear of people doing everything right and it didn't work. And
yes.
So there you go. Like you said, you don't like dealing with 100s because that could happen too.
No matter what, yeah, it's a catch-22 because, like you said, I've heard of all the messed up stuff too. If it's black, fight back. If it's brown, lay down. If it's white, good night. Yeah, because the polar bear is just gonna smoke. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you play unalived or not. It's coming for you still. Yeah, because brown bears like to eat their things alive, unfortunately, for the thing that's being consumed. Same thing with polar bears, except, well, it doesn't matter. They just will eat anything. And black bears are, again, not necessarily the biggest, and they seem to, again, be spooked pretty easily. But moral of the whole thing is, yeah, don't put yourself in situations being ill prepared. But also, yeah, no matter what, just don't act, like prey. People have before said they threw their guns down and pushed their friends out of the way. It's just like, geez, no. First off, be prepared. Really don't be solo. And second off, yes, just realize, hey, we got to have a game plan here.
Yep, and I like that whole like practicing your lines in front of the mirror till it becomes natural. And it's the same like if you have a knife that's in your pocket, practice pulling it out of your pocket. Like how fast can you get it out and ready? Like you don't want to be fiddling around with it or forget what pocket you put it in and all that.
Yes, you don't want that occurring the very first time you have an encounter in the wilderness with a predator when you don't need that to happen. Exactly, because again, nothing is perfect. What's that old school cliche? Practice makes perfect. You got to continuously practice things. It's no different than like an athlete that is going to do something over and over again until it becomes natural. I mean, I used to be a soccer goalie, and you just practice something where people were like, "Holy crap, how'd you get your hands up that quick?" As the ball comes right at your face, it's just like a natural reaction.
Yeah.
And also, it's going to hit you in the face if it doesn't. So
Yes.
Great stuff. Well, I appreciate you hanging out, man. Is there anything else you'd like to touch base on tonight before we let you get rolling?
Nothing pops to mind. But yeah, just keep on keeping on.
Heck yeah, I appreciate you. And to the audience, this will be the conclusion of the meeting for the Midnight Society. It is the early hours of the morning. Jake has other things he does need to attend to, like previously stated, a business, his own YouTube thread. Just make sure you go over and check out what he's up to. Support him. Give us a like. His link will be in the description. Be on the lookout for new things because many epic encounters will be churning out. And just what we spoke about tonight is the tip of the iceberg. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you. Take it easy.
Ooh, you legends, you. I do adore every single one of you. And thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Please like, comment, subscribe, share the truth to the algorithm, and we will catch you very soon.